Hello fellow orchid lovers. It's Danielle here with my Fusarium treatment update. This is week 3. I have not applied my 3rd application yet, but I have applied 2 applications, each 7 days apart, and it does seem that some are responding. I'm just going to go through this piece by piece. Some of my puppies are inside, so if you hear them, there's 2 right there. And then the littlest puppies are there in that bed. Hopefully they'll stay quiet and calm so that I can film this without too much interruption. Okay, so the first one is my Shari baby. I did hack this plant to pieces. So this is the oldest bulb. It did not seem to have any signs of eyes. It was definitely had a very distinct purple ring on either side of the rhizome. But I decided to try to save it anyways because it did, the pseudobulb is firm and the leaves were still in good condition. So no progress, no change. I haven't seen any eyes that are moving or anything like that. So the jury's still out as to whether this piece will be kept or not, but I'll grow it on for a little while longer and see. This piece was the piece that this bulb right here, the rhizome only had a tiny bit of purple. This one had more, but I kept them 2 together hoping maybe this pseudobulb would give this pseudobulb strength to push these 2 new growths. These new growths were there when I separated the plant from each other, and they are growing on. This one was much smaller when I first started. You could barely see it. This one isn't growing as quickly. It's growing minutely, but this one is growing very quickly. So it looks like we are having some success there. I would imagine the way Fusarium works, these would have stalled completely and wouldn't be growing at all if the plant wasn't fighting the infection. That's my assumption anyways. It's first time dealing with Fusarium, so that may not be true. These 2 pieces were its latest growths, and I did separate them from the plant. I did not see any purple ring in the rhizome. It's still very possible that they were infected, so they are being treated. They, since I started the treatments, have new growths. This one has just a teeny tiny little guy right there, but this one is growing really quickly. 2 weeks ago when I started the treatment, these were non-existent, and now they are there and they're growing on. So I'm very happy about that. So there is a very good chance that at least portions of my Shari baby are going to make it. They do seem to be responding to the treatment. The next one is my Odontoglossum. I'm not going to try to pronounce the name because I can't, but that's it. That's the tag. It is a cross with itself. So what is that, a primary cross? I don't know. If Roger watches this, he could probably tell me because he knows that kind of stuff. I have no idea. This had stalled. That's how I realized something was wrong with it. I did cut the rhizome on the plant. It was infected. I cut everything off that had purple. This new growth did not. But it just didn't progress. Nothing happened. It wasn't moving. Nothing was going anywhere. So I put it into the treatment program anyways, and lo and behold, new root right there, which again, this camera angle, I really don't love. There you go. There's a new root right there. There's some type of a bulge happening right here, so I don't know what's gonna happen, if that's just the pseudobulb maturing or if something's gonna come out. And then look at that, an eye is moving. So I think that this plant is going to be okay. It's had stalled for a very long time. That's the first sign of life I've seen on it pretty much since I got the plant. So I'm pretty happy about that. This is my sweet sugar lemon drop. I did cut some of the infected bulbs away. I cut away until I got to the bulb with the new growth, and then I left these all together because I wanted to try to give the plant some strength to grow on the new growths. So I measure these every week to see if there's progress, and there is. So I think that the treatment is also working with this plant. They don't grow enormously every week, but they are getting new roots with green growing tips, and the new growths are growing on. So I'm thinking that, again, the treatment is, the plant's responding to the treatment. So that's good. This is my Miltonia that I just got recently that does have Fusarium. There's the tag again. Nope, not trying to pronounce it. I did in one of my videos and I had to laugh at myself because it sounded terrible. Don't really know. I mean, this is growing. When I got it, this was a very small new growth. Again, the accordion leaves indicated that this plant was having trouble hydrating itself. I think it might be getting a spike. I'm not really sure. I don't know how this spikes, but it does seem to be coming from a place that a spike would come from. So I'm taking that as encouragement that this plant's doing better. The new growths do still have green growing tips, so that's good. So hopefully the treatment is working for this one. I mean, that new growth's really taking off right there. So I do think I'm having some success. I did have a casualty, but it wasn't a casualty from treatments. I threw it out before I even treated it, and that was my Shelob Tolkien. When I went to put my orchids in the first Fusarium treatment, the bottoms of the bulbs, I realized, were completely rotten. I mean, like mushy rotten. So there was really no point in even trying. So I threw them out. So we're gonna see. Maybe I'll buy another one sometime soon if I can find a supplier that carries it, that I want to try to venture into getting one. We'll have to, jury's still out on that one. So the last one, taking my coffee with me, is the Wildcat. Now this Wildcat, I think, is struggling with more than one issue. It clearly has Fusarium. After the last treatment, I was cleaning the plant, because after I treat the roots, I do rinse them so that I'll be able to handle them without having to worry about the fungicide getting on my hands, because I think that's highly inadvisable. I do wear gloves when I'm treating them. And while I was cleaning the roots off, the front bulb just fell off. So I don't really know why that happened. I mean, this seems pretty firm. So I don't think that's great news about this orchid. The new growth is still growing. Like I say, I measure it every week to see if it's growing, and it does seem to be, but it's not really looking great. Don't really know what's going on there. And then there's the whole plant has like these little, I don't know if that's just something that this plant gets, but I really strongly believe, I've never had spider mites. I really don't get bugs in waterculture. But to me, looking at what other people have posted, that looks like spider mite damage. It's all on the bottom of the leaves, which is where spider mites seem to thrive. It was obviously treated pretty heavily with some type of pesticide before I got it, because the leaves are filthy and I cannot get that to come off. So I'm pretty sure that this plant had spider mites. This plant is kept away from all the other plants. It's on a shelf below the Miltonia. And I know that, spider mites can travel. They're pretty quick travelers, but I had to put it somewhere, and it's going to be next to an orchid. So I picked the Miltonia because that's a confirmed Fusarium plant, and if they both have to go, it's better that than a non-confirmed plant. But I'm hoping that whatever treatment it received, the mites are gone, but I'm pretty sure that's what that is. So I think it's got two problems, this plant. I think it's battling Fusarium and possibly trying to recoup from a pretty bad spider mite outbreak. So I don't know if this plant's going to make it. I don't see any signs that it's going downhill fast. Like I said, this new growth is seeming to grow. There's an eye possibly moving there. So we're gonna have to just keep our eyes on it. But the other ones all seem to be responding pretty well. I mean, I have new growths on most of them, new roots on some of them, and possible flower spikes on others. So, you know, I'll keep you updated. Again, this is only my second treatment. I'm gonna do a third, and then I'm gonna give them 1 to 2 weeks without a treatment, and then I'm gonna do a different type of fungicide. I'm still deciding which one I'm gonna use. I'm doing some research. So that's my progress with my Fusarium treated orchids. It does seem to be working. I'm really kind of psyched about that. I am a very stubborn person, so I don't like to give up on plants. So I really hope that I will be able to save most of them, if not all. And I'll give you updates again if anything changes. And if you have any questions, please let me know. If you want to know what type of fungicide I am using, there's another video that I do show the product. And that's about it. So happy growing, everybody, and I will talk to you next time.